There's something deeply unsettling about how much remains hidden in the world of cinema, and this movie is no exception. Behind the tense atmosphere and iconic dialogue lies a production filled with extreme methods, overlooked tragedies, and mysteries that stayed buried for decades. This wasn't just a film about the horrors of war. It became a test of endurance for the people who made it. From mind games that pushed actors to their breaking points to little-known details hiding in plain sight, the real story is just as intense as the one on screen. Today we're unlocking the vault on one of the most intense war films ever made, revealing the secrets, bizarre facts, and shocking moments that most people never discovered. Number 1. The actor who risked his sanity. Transforming into a convincing soldier on screen is no easy task, but this transformation went far beyond method acting. For one of the lead actors, the role demanded a complete physical overhaul that pushed him to dangerous extremes both mentally and physically. Vincent D'Onofrio gained an astonishing 75 pounds to portray the troubled Private Pyle, setting a Hollywood record at the time for the most weight gained for a role. His dramatic physical change wasn't just about appearance. It altered how people treated him in real life. He once revealed that strangers would avoid him in public, and some even assumed he was less intelligent based on his looks during that period. The intense weight gain took a brutal toll on his health. D'Onofrio's knees suffered so much damage from carrying the extra weight that he required surgical treatment after filming. The physical transformation wasn't the only challenge. Throughout production, the emotionally demanding scenes and grueling shooting schedule drained him to the point where it was difficult to separate himself from the character's growing instability. Few actors have endured such a complete mind and body transformation for a single film. D'Onofrio didn't just portray Private Pyle, he lived it, with real-life consequences that lingered long after the cameras stopped rolling. Number 2. The deleted scenes too vile for Kubrick. Not everything that was filmed for this war epic made it to the big screen. Some scenes were so shocking and unsettling that even the famously daring director decided to leave them on the cutting room floor. One of the most infamous deleted moments involved a grotesque soccer game played with a severed human head instead of a ball. This disturbing visual was actually filmed, but after reviewing the footage, it was deemed too graphic to be included in the final cut. The scene was intended to highlight the brutal loss of humanity during wartime, but it crossed a line even the director wasn't willing to show. Another chilling moment that was removed involved Animal Mother, one of the film's most aggressive characters. In the original script, instead of delivering a swift end to the wounded sniper, Animal Mother was shown decapitating the sniper completely. The brutality of the act was so extreme that it risked overshadowing the story itself. These removed scenes serve as a reminder that the final version of the movie is only a glimpse of the full, much darker vision. What audiences saw was intense, but the unseen footage hints at an even harsher reality behind the director's lens. Number 3. Knife standoff that shocked the set. Behind the scenes, tensions reached a boiling point during filming, leading to one of the most unsettling off-camera incidents. The intense atmosphere didn't just stay in front of the lens. It followed the cast into their personal lives in ways no one expected. During production, actor Matthew Modine found himself in a deeply stressful situation. His wife required emergency surgery, and naturally, he wanted to leave the set to be by her side. But instead of granting time off, the director launched into a lengthy discussion, listing reasons why Modine should remain on set. The conversation took a strange turn, turning into a form of psychological pressure that left the actor feeling completely trapped. With emotions running high, Modine reportedly reached for a pocket knife and made a dramatic statement, threatening to harm himself if he wasn't allowed to leave. Ironically, it turned out he wasn't even scheduled to shoot that day. This story became a symbol of the extreme control the director held over his cast, where even personal emergencies were subject to debate. It revealed just how far some filmmakers will go to maintain authority on set, sometimes at the cost of human compassion. Number 4. Recruits tricked into real fear. The unsettling realism in the film's infamous boot camp scenes didn't come from acting alone. Behind the camera, there was a deliberate effort to make the young recruits experience genuine fear before they ever stepped in front of the lens. One of the director's most effective tactics was to completely separate the actors playing the recruits from the man portraying the drill instructor. The actors were never introduced to him before filming began, and they were forbidden from rehearsing or socializing with him in any way. This created an intense psychological barrier between the recruits and their on-screen tormentor. To make matters even more intimidating, the drill instructor spent up to 10 hours a day in full character, shouting brutal commands and insults without any break in his performance. There was no safe space on set where the actors could relax. The hostility followed them everywhere during filming. This method worked exactly as intended. When the cameras rolled, the fear seen on screen was entirely authentic. The recruits weren't just acting scared of the drill instructor. They were genuinely terrified of him. It became one of the film's most impactful techniques, blending reality and fiction in a way few war movies have ever achieved. Number 5. The Marine who hijacked his role. Landing a role in a major motion picture usually involves auditions, callbacks, and industry connections. But one performer in this film rewrote the rulebook entirely. His path from technical advisor to unforgettable on-screen presence remains one of the most remarkable behind-the-scenes stories in cinema. Originally, the man behind the fearsome drill instructor was brought on as a technical consultant. With real-life experience as a Marine Corps drill instructor, his job was to help actors portray boot camp life authentically. However, after observing the rehearsals, he realized the actor chosen for the role wasn't capturing the harsh intensity the part demanded. Taking matters into his own hands, he filmed an unscripted audition, unleashing a rapid-fire string of improvised insults and razor-sharp commands. The footage was so convincing that it immediately swayed the director to recast the role, replacing the original actor who had already spent months preparing. The result became cinematic history. His unmatched energy transformed the character into one of the most memorable drill instructors ever portrayed on screen, proving that sometimes real-world experience outshines even the most prepared professional actor. Number 6. Joker's helmet hides a chilling detail. Sometimes the smallest details in a movie can reveal the biggest truths, and in this case, a simple piece of costume design carried a deeply unsettling message. One of the most iconic symbols in the entire film was hiding a psychological transformation in plain sight. The combat helmet worn by the main character wasn't just military gear, it told a story. On the front, it had two clashing symbols: the aggressive phrase, "Born to Kill," scrawled in bold letters, sitting directly above a peace sign button. This contradiction wasn't random. The director used it as a way to highlight the brutal conflict inside every soldier, the tension between survival instincts and human compassion. An even more haunting moment comes during the climactic scene. Right before the lead character takes his most decisive action, he tilts his head in a way that covers the peace symbol with his hand, leaving only the words "Born to Kill" visible. In that moment, the character's inner struggle is resolved, and the darker side wins. This clever visual storytelling shows the moment a character loses their internal battle without a single word spoken. It's a chilling example of how subtle details can change the entire meaning of a scene. Number 7. Real accident that delayed the film. Sometimes unexpected events can change the course of a movie's production, and in this case, an offset accident had major consequences for the film's release schedule and its legacy in cinema history. During filming, one of the key cast members was involved in a serious car accident. The incident left him with broken ribs on one side of his body, forcing production to stop completely for 4.5 months. This wasn't just a minor delay. It shifted the entire timeline of the movie's release and opened the door for another Vietnam War film to make its mark first. While this movie was stuck in limbo, director Oliver Stone's Platoon raced to theaters, earning critical acclaim and dominating awards season. It won the Oscar for Best Picture before this film even made it to cinemas. Many have wondered how differently things might have turned out if the accident never happened. This unfortunate event reshaped the movie's place in cinematic history. Instead of leading the conversation on Vietnam War films, it ended up following in the shadow of Platoon. It's a surprising example of how unpredictable real life can shape the stories we remember on screen. Number 8. The director's daughter shaped the soundtrack. The haunting soundtrack of the movie might sound like the work of a seasoned composer, but behind the memorable music was a surprising figure from the director's own family. Few people realize just how much influence the director's daughter had on the final product. Vivian Kubrick, working under the alias Abigail Mead, was responsible for creating the film's unsettling score. Despite being in her 20s at the time, and without an extensive musical career, she managed to craft sounds that perfectly captured the film's disturbing atmosphere. Her music combined eerie electronic effects with military rhythms, adding to the psychological tension in nearly every scene. But her role didn't end with music. Vivian also spent time filming behind-the-scenes footage during production, recording over 18 hours of material intended for a documentary about the making of the film. However, for reasons still unknown, that documentary was never released to the public. Her contribution to the soundtrack helped elevate the intensity of the film, while the hidden documentary left fans wondering what unseen moments were captured on set. It's a fascinating reminder of how talent can sometimes come from unexpected places, even within a filmmaker's own family. Number 9. Kubrick rebuilt Vietnam in London. When creating a realistic war film, most productions head to distant locations to capture the atmosphere of battlefields. But this time, the director's unusual personal fears changed the entire approach to filming. Stanley Kubrick, despite having a pilot's license, had a deep fear of flying. This meant that traveling to Southeast Asia to film authentic scenes in Vietnam was completely out of the question. Instead, the production was forced to recreate the look and feel of war-torn Vietnam right in the United Kingdom. The crew used an abandoned industrial site known as Beckton Gas Works in East London to stand in for the bombed-out city of Hue. To complete the illusion, they imported over 200 palm trees from California and brought in more than 100,000 tropical plants from Hong Kong. The team even went as far as blowing up the industrial site to give it the proper look of destruction. By completely transforming a London location into a convincing Vietnamese battlefield, the production demonstrated how creativity can overcome obstacles. Audiences around the world were convinced they were seeing Vietnam, never realizing it was crafted from scratch thousands of miles away. Number 10. The sniper was played by a French model. One of the most chilling characters in the film wasn't portrayed by a seasoned actor, but by someone with a completely different background. This surprising casting decision added a raw and unpredictable element to one of the movie's most intense scenes. For the crucial role of the Vietnamese sniper, the production team selected Papillon Su Su, a French model with no formal acting experience. She wasn't a typical Hollywood performer, but the director believed that her inexperience would bring a natural and unscripted energy to the role. He was known for pushing actors to reach raw, unfiltered emotions, and casting someone from outside the acting world helped achieve exactly that. Papillon Su Su's performance became one of the most memorable in the entire film, despite her limited screen time. The lack of polished acting techniques gave her character an unsettling presence that stayed with audiences long after the credits rolled. This casting choice is a perfect example of how unconventional decisions can lead to unforgettable results. By stepping away from traditional methods, the filmmakers created a scene that felt shockingly real, leaving a lasting impression on viewers. Number 11. The title came from a gun catalog. Some of the most famous movie titles go through endless brainstorming sessions, but this one came from a completely unexpected place. The inspiration wasn't found in a writer's room or a script meeting, but from flipping through the pages of a product catalog. Originally, the movie was based on a novel called The Short Timers. However, the director was not satisfied with using that title, believing it could easily be misunderstood. He felt it might confuse audiences into thinking the movie was about part-time workers instead of soldiers. Looking for something more striking and impactful, he turned to a gun catalog for ideas. While browsing through the catalog, one phrase caught his eye: full metal jacket. The term referred to a specific type of bullet used in military firearms. Its cold, mechanical sound immediately resonated with the brutal themes of the movie, and it quickly became the new title. This spontaneous decision proved to be a brilliant move. Full Metal Jacket became a phrase recognized around the world, capturing the harshness and raw energy of the story in just 3 powerful words. Number 12. The jelly donut scene took 37 tries. Even the simplest moments on screen can hide incredible amounts of effort, and one particular scene became an unexpected challenge for the cast and crew. What seemed like a minor comedic moment required an exhausting number of takes to get it just right. In the boot camp sequence, there's a scene where the recruits are punished after one of them is caught sneaking a jelly donut into the barracks. On the surface, it looks like a brief exchange of dialogue with a bit of dark humor. However, the director's famous attention to detail turned it into a grueling ordeal for the actors involved. The scene had to be shot 37 times before the director was satisfied. Every line, facial reaction, and camera angle needed to be executed perfectly. The repeated retakes wore down the actors, pushing them to the brink of frustration, which, ironically, made their anger and discomfort on screen even more believable. This moment stands as a prime example of the director's pursuit of perfection. Even the smallest, most straightforward scenes were treated with the same level of intensity as the most dramatic moments in the movie. Number 13. The hidden misinformation warning. Sometimes, the most powerful messages in a movie aren't delivered through dialogue, but through small background details that many viewers miss. One particular sign in the film carries a surprisingly modern message that feels more relevant today than ever. During one of the briefing room scenes, a slogan can be spotted in the background that reads, "We will defend to the death our right to be misinformed." At first glance, it might seem like dark military humor, but this phrase cuts much deeper when viewed through a modern lens. At the time of filming, this sign was intended as a form of sharp satire about propaganda and the fog of war. Yet, decades later, it feels like a chilling prediction about the age of misinformation, social media, and fake news. The quote has resurfaced frequently in discussions about the movie's hidden meanings and the director's talent for embedding subtle commentary in his work. This forgotten detail is a reminder of how the film not only explored the horrors of combat, but also exposed uncomfortable truths about information control. Truths that continue to feel unsettlingly accurate in the present day. Number 14. Pyle's secret ammo hoarding. Some of the most chilling moments in cinema are those that reward careful viewers with hidden clues, and this film contains one of the most subtle examples of foreshadowing. Tucked into the background of several scenes is a quiet warning about a character's eventual downfall. Throughout the boot camp sequences, the troubled recruit known as Private Pyle is shown struggling to keep up with the harsh training. While the story focuses on his clashes with the drill instructor, there is a hidden visual detail that hints at the dark turn his character will take later in the movie. In multiple scenes, Pyle can be spotted secretly pocketing live ammunition. These brief background moments go unnoticed by many viewers, but serve as early indicators of his growing instability. By the time the pivotal bathroom scene unfolds, the groundwork has already been laid in subtle ways for those paying close attention. This hidden detail is a masterclass in visual storytelling. Without drawing obvious attention, the filmmakers managed to plant a quiet but powerful signal of the character's tragic journey, proving once again how much can be said without uttering a single word. Number 15. Hidden documentary blocked from release. Many great films have behind-the-scenes documentaries that give fans a deeper look into the production process. But for this movie, even the behind-the-scenes footage became part of the mystery, leaving fans wondering what really happened during filming. During production, the director's daughter, Vincent Kubri, took on the role of documenting the experience. She filmed over 18 hours of behind-the-scenes material, capturing rehearsals, on-set tensions, and candid moments between the cast and crew. This rare footage was intended to give audiences a raw and personal look at what it was like to make one of the most intense war movies ever created. However, the documentary was never released. Despite the footage being complete, it remains locked away from the public. There has never been an official explanation for why it was shelved, adding to the air of secrecy surrounding the movie. Fans have speculated that the unseen footage might reveal the emotional strain actors endured, or offer glimpses of the director's famously demanding methods. Whatever the reason, the hidden documentary remains one of the great untold stories linked to the film's creation. Number 16. Modine's diary captured untold stories. Official documentaries and interviews often filter the real story behind a film, but in this case, one actor provided a completely raw and personal account of what really happened on set. His written record became one of the few insider perspectives available to fans. Matthew Modine, who portrayed one of the central characters, kept a personal diary throughout the entire production. He didn't just jot down casual notes, he documented the emotional struggles, intense working conditions, and unpredictable atmosphere on set. His diary offers a rare, unfiltered glimpse into the complex world of making the film. Years later, Modine decided to share his experience with the public by publishing his diary. Fittingly, the book was released in a special edition, bound in a metallic cover as a tribute to the movie's title. The journal includes behind-the-scenes photos, personal reflections, and anecdotes about the cast and director. For fans, Modine's diary remains one of the most honest and revealing sources about the challenges and triumphs of filming. It captures moments of frustration, exhaustion, and rare humor, offering a unique view into the making of a cinema classic. Number 17. Director paused filming over a rabbit. Filmmaking often demands tough decisions, especially when portraying violent and chaotic scenes. However, one unexpected moment revealed a softer side of the director, offering a rare glimpse of compassion on a set known for its intensity. During a particularly destructive sequence, part of the set involved explosives and collapsing structures. While preparing for the scene, members of the crew noticed several rabbits wandering into the area, unaware of the impending danger. The crew quickly tried to shoo the animals away, but unfortunately, not all of them escaped before the scene was filmed. The discovery of the rabbits' fate deeply upset the director. In a surprising move, he halted filming for the entire day out of respect for the animals. Despite portraying brutal warfare on screen, this incident highlighted his genuine concern for living creatures, creating a memorable contrast to the harsh environments he recreated in his films. This story remains a unique piece of trivia, showing that even the most demanding filmmakers can show moments of kindness where least expected. Number 18. Filming was done completely backwards. Movie productions usually follow a straightforward shooting schedule, but this one turned tradition upside down in a way that left a lasting impact on the actors' performances. The decision to film out of order created unexpected challenges behind the scenes. For this production, the filming began with the brutal Vietnam War sequences before moving to the boot camp scenes. That meant actors had to portray hardened, battle-worn soldiers before they ever experienced their characters' intense training on screen. This unusual order forced the cast to imagine their early character development after already filming their more advanced story arcs. The reversal didn't happen by accident. Part of the reason was the extensive set construction required for the battlefield scenes, which were already prepared and ready to shoot first. The boot camp environment took longer to complete, pushing those scenes to the end of the schedule. As a result, the actors had to mentally rewind their performances, working backward through their characters' growth. This rare method of shooting made the final product even more impressive, as the seamless transitions in character development hid the complexity of the filming process. Number 19. A hidden callback to 2001, A Space Odyssey. Filmmakers often enjoy slipping hidden references into their work, but sometimes those connections happen completely by accident. In this case, a curious visual link between two famous films sparked years of fan speculation. During one of the key moments in the movie, sharp-eyed viewers noticed a building in the background that bears a striking resemblance to the monolith from 2001, A Space Odyssey, another celebrated film from the same director. The tall, rectangular structure stands out clearly against the rubble, making some fans wonder if it was included as a clever Easter egg. However, according to interviews, this moment wasn't intentional. The building was simply part of the real-world industrial location used for filming. The resemblance was purely coincidental, even though it ended up creating one of the most talked-about background details in the movie. This unexpected visual connection became a fun discovery for fans, proving that even unplanned moments can add to a movie's mystery and invite deeper discussion about a director's creative world. Number 20. A deleted line that changes everything. Sometimes removing just a few words from a script can completely shift how audiences perceive a character, and this film features one powerful example of that. A single cut line altered the emotional tone of a critical moment. In the movie's climactic boot camp sequence, the intense final confrontation between Private Pyle and his drill instructor became one of the film's most unforgettable scenes. However, in the original version of the script, there was an additional line spoken by the drill instructor just before the final moment. He was supposed to say, "I'm proud of you," a phrase that would have added a deeply unsettling twist to their toxic relationship. This line was filmed but later removed during editing. Without it, the scene plays out with raw hostility and fear. But had it stayed in, it would have revealed a disturbing sense of approval from the instructor toward Pyle's drastic transformation. The decision to cut this line left viewers with a more ambiguous and unsettling ending, showing how minor script changes can dramatically affect the overall meaning of a scene. Number 21. Joker's uniform hid a tribute. Military uniforms are usually designed to reflect discipline and rank. But in this film, one character's name tag carried a hidden message. For fans who look closely, it revealed a touching tribute to a real-life historical figure. Throughout the movie, the main character known as Joker wears a standard Marine Corps uniform. At first glance, there's nothing unusual about it, but if you look closely at his name tag, you'll notice the name reads J.T. Davis. This detail wasn't chosen at random. J.T. Davis was the first recorded American soldier to lose his life in the Vietnam conflict, making his name a significant piece of history. By giving Joker this name tag, the filmmakers subtly acknowledged the real human cost of the war. It added a layer of quiet respect within a film known for its brutal depictions of combat and training. This hidden tribute may go unnoticed by casual viewers, but it reflects the thoughtful care taken in crafting the film's details, offering a quiet moment of remembrance amidst the chaos on screen. Number 22. Famous actors turn down roles. Before the cameras started rolling, this movie nearly featured some of the biggest names in Hollywood. Several well-known stars had the chance to join the cast, but chose to walk away, creating one of the film's most intriguing what-if scenarios. During the early casting process, multiple A-list actors were approached to take on key roles. Arnold Schwarzenegger was considered, but scheduling conflicts got in the way. Denzel Washington was another major name who passed on the opportunity, reportedly due to creative differences. Bruce Willis, who was still rising to stardom, turned down a role because of commitments to his television career. Even Ed Harris, known for his powerful dramatic roles, decided not to join the project. The film ultimately succeeded without these famous names, focusing instead on relatively lesser-known actors who brought a raw, realistic feel to their performances. Still, it's fascinating to imagine how different the movie might have been with these stars in the lineup. This behind-the-scenes fact reminds us that casting decisions can dramatically influence a film's tone and legacy, and that sometimes lesser-known actors deliver performances that become unforgettable. Number 23. Real weapons were used on set. Movie sets are usually filled with carefully designed props, especially when it comes to weapons. But in this case, not everything used during filming was a harmless replica. Some scenes featured actual working firearms. Throughout production, the team used real military rifles for certain shots to ensure maximum authenticity. While safety protocols were in place, this decision added a level of realism that would be difficult to achieve with non-functioning props. The weight, look, and feel of these genuine weapons contributed to the raw, gritty atmosphere on screen. One of the most intense examples was in scenes filmed inside the barracks, where close-up shots of weapons included real, functioning rifles. This detail raised the stakes during production, adding tension behind the scenes as well. It also reflected the director's commitment to creating the most immersive environment possible, even if it meant using live equipment under tightly controlled circumstances. This choice highlighted how far the filmmakers were willing to go in pursuit of realism, blending the line between cinema and authenticity in a way that's rarely seen in modern productions. Number 24. A bitter legal battle behind the scenes. While the film achieved critical acclaim, not everything ended smoothly once the cameras stopped rolling. Behind the scenes, a fierce legal dispute unfolded between the director and the author of the original novel, creating long-lasting tension over the movie's legacy. The film was based on the book The Short Timers by Gustav Hasford, who contributed to the screenplay. Initially, Hasford was given credit alongside the director and a co-writer. However, after production wrapped, conflicts over recognition and payment escalated. Hasford accused the director of minimizing his involvement, while the director claimed Hasford was difficult to work with during script development. This battle led to public accusations, legal threats, and broken relationships. The two men only met once during the making of the film, and their fallout became one of the industry's more infamous disputes over creative credit. Despite the film's success, the behind-the-scenes conflict left a bitter taste for some of those involved, reminding audiences that creative masterpieces can sometimes come from very troubled collaborations. Number 25. The $4 million set destroyed after one use. Creating the perfect battlefield on screen requires incredible resources, and for this movie, the production spared no expense to achieve authenticity. The team built a massive and detailed set to recreate the ruins of a Vietnamese city, but their dedication came with an unexpected cost. The industrial Baekton gasworks site was transformed into a war-torn urban battlefield, complete with bombed-out buildings, rubble, and debris. The construction took months and cost approximately $4 million, a staggering sum at the time. Every detail was carefully designed to immerse viewers in the chaos of war. However, this elaborate set was not intended to last. For one pivotal scene, the production team blew up the entire area, reducing the painstaking work to rubble within moments. The explosion was filmed with multiple cameras to capture the destruction from every angle. The dramatic demolition added breathtaking realism to the film, but it also meant the costly set was completely destroyed after just one use. This decision reflected the director's commitment to visual impact, even at a high financial price. Full Metal Jacket wasn't just a war movie. It was a psychological experiment that pushed everyone involved to their limits. The director's relentless pursuit of perfection created a masterpiece that still resonates today, but it came with real human costs behind the scenes. With locked-away footage, untold stories, and actors who rarely speak about their experiences, there's still so much about this film that remains hidden from fans. It's a reminder that every great movie has layers of complexity and chaos beneath the surface. Which facts surprised you the most? Share your thoughts in the comments below. And if you enjoyed this deep dive into Hollywood's darkest corners, make sure to like and subscribe for more unforgettable stories from behind the scenes. The horrors of war were just the beginning. The true story of making this film reveals a whole other kind of battle, one of endurance, creativity, and sacrifice.